Hello, hello everyone. This is Irene with SaugaTalks. Hello, please follow me on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, because I speak weekly with fascinating people in tech. So today is a lovely day here in Connecticut because my guest with me here is Johannes Drughag. Hello, Johannes, how are you?
Good evening. Thank you very much. It's evening for me in Bonn, in Germany. It's been a very hot day and it still has not cooled down. So it's finally summer, and that always gives everybody a happy feeling. So good evening, good
Absolutely.
morning, good afternoon, wherever the people are watching. Um, My name is Johannes Drooghaag, but most people call me JD.
Okay, JD, I'm so privileged to have you on the show today, and thank you for joining in your evening. Yes. We're gonna talk about human elements. We're gonna talk about us human under the lens of cybersecurity, because we all read news. We get, technology trends from many sources. What I wanted to understand, and you are an absolute perfect speaker for this kind of discussions. So we're gonna talk about human element in cybersecurity. But you told me that you're going to surprise us with unexpected turn of the conversation here, because let me bring my point of view again. It's not important show about you, but as companies equipping themselves with new technologies, with new cybersecurity strategies, right? They want to be absolutely bulletproof, and we hear here and there the accidents happen, right? As we more and more relying on those technologies, of every kind. So let me ask you, JD, where do you see this human element fitting into technological advancements we are all a part of?
Well, the first element is, of course, no matter what technology we have, and no matter if it's advanced or not, or emerging or not, or whatever buzzword we want to put on top of it, it is still us human beings working with technology and doing things with technology. Otherwise, technology would just be a thing for itself, and it doesn't add value. So we as human beings are working with technology. And that human element in technology, and especially in cybersecurity, has a significant impact. And when we look at the breaches of cybersecurity and the issues that we have, it's very interesting to see when you talk to the IT specialist, and it's very dangerous when you are involved in tech that you're always talking to the tech people, right? Because those are the people you interact with. And the risk is that you get an echo chamber. When you talk to them, there's a lot of focus on users and user errors and user failures, and users didn't do what they were supposed to do, and the users should not have done this or that. The moment we analyze the data of the actual cyber breaches, and I do that every year with my team since more than 5 years now, and we compiled that all our findings in a report. The moment we do that, and we look at the first problem, we don't look at the 5th problem or the 20th problem, we look at the first problem. What was the real root cause that this happened? The users are 10% and even less. Now, the next thing that we have heard, especially in the past years, is that the vendor, the brand or the supplier, that's the problem. That's something we have heard in the press, and there can be, of course, the impression that that is true. But when we look at the cyber breaches, the actual impact of technology, the vendors, the suppliers, is also less than 10%. And that leaves us with a little over 80%, which is neither the user nor the vendor. So my question to you and to everybody else is, could you guess what the 82% is? Do you have a feeling?
I can try. So it's not the users, okay? If it's not the tech, I sense there gotta be some bigger, overarching. So what about human communication? What about something that humans do with tech? I mean, is this the correct answer?
Yes and no. You're going
Mm-hmm.
in the right direction. What we see is that 82% is actually in the responsibility of the IT tech people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say this on forehand, blaming IT for 80% of the issues would be just as unfair as blaming the users. What we see is a very disturbing mix. We see that 28% of the cyber incidents are caused by abandoned technology. So that means technology we are still using, it is still there, we're just not managing it, we're not monitoring it, we are not actively involved in it, we're not patching it. And I always normally have to look at a very, very good example of that. Since a few weeks, I don't have to look for a good example anymore. The Colonial Pipeline hack was possible because there was a VPN instance, which was no longer used, which was not monitored, which had full access to everything. And because the password to that VPN instance was exposed, the hackers gained access to the network. Now, we can discuss, of course, yes, if there would have been zero trust, they would have not come beyond that initial VPN. And if there would have been proper segmentation, they would not have got that far. And if there would have been proper identity management, a lot of ifs, but these all circle in the area of technical management of the equipment and technical management of the technology. We have a lot of those examples, and it compiles 82% of the cyber incidents. And that is definitely something that we should not ignore. It is also not something that we should put focus on the wrong things, right? And the big thing that we must learn from all these incidents is that the basics of cybersecurity, really where we should start, are patch management, segmentation and segregation, which are two different things, but to make sure that there are borders between everything and that not everything is just connected, and that you really have a good separation of your networks, that you have a good segmentation of the segregation of the functions, etc., etc. And the third thing is identity management. Multi-factor authentication, all these things, but they are the basics. And I am sure, and the data confirms that if you start taking care of that, you will have a lot less cyber incidents. And I replied that even today. My approach to that is it will not solve everything, but it will eliminate the self-inflicted wounds. And that is the human part in the technical management and configuration of technology. But it's still not fair to say, oh, that's the IT people, because the IT people are basically depending on resources, budgets, and I speak to a lot of system administrators and design people and engineers, and they tell me stories which really make my hair is already gray, but would normally make my hair turn gray. Yes, I know that I must replace these computer systems and I must replace these old, outdated operating systems for which we don't get patches. But management has decided to postpone that again until next year. And I'm now waiting for that for 5 years. So yes, I know, but I cannot pay that from my own pocket. So it's not just an IT technician part, it is management, it is leadership, it is priorities. All these things come together. So when we want to put one label on it and say, who's responsible? I would say leadership. It's a decision problem. It's not understanding how enormously important this is. And that is what we should change. And that is the human element, which I announced, which is not what you expected.